Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this session. Welcome, everybody. Hello. My name is Antonio Ercole De Luca, and I'm going to... Hello, Ahmad.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce Ahmad Firmansyah.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
Yes,
right?
all right.
Well, which is going to present his work. Maybe it would be better if I go the word to him. So, welcome, and let's start.
Okay, first I will share my screen. Okay, is this clear to see or not? I hope it's clear for everyone. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this talk. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Fauzi Bagus Firmansyah from Jakarta, Indonesia. Here, I will talking about my work about the using Google Earth Engine Python API and XGBoost for build-up classification. Okay, let's begin about the background why I doing this work. Okay, United
Ahmad,
Nation.
Ahmad,
Yeah.
may I stop you? Maybe you should put the slides in full screen.
Let's try.
Yeah, probably because you are focusing the wrong screen at the moment.
Is already full screen or not? Okay.
Perfect. Well, the right side is not showing. Well, there is a dark frame on the right side.
It's okay.
Is that okay? Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let's begin. Yes. Let's continue. The build-up area. Okay, United Nations in 2015 has reached that build-up area is a significant area in land cover, although it's covering less than 1%, but growing significantly due to human population and economic activity. So it is important to observe the built-up area by measuring area that classified as built-up area. By measuring the built-up area, we can use this information to developing a sustainable city. But how to measure the built-up area? Several steps can be used. The first one is the field study, but it is a high cost. And the next one is we can use supervised learning by make the machine learning about the data we provided. Okay, and here is I want to show you how my work about the in classified web area using the open imagery data. Okay, next talking about the open imagery data, Google have been provided a service to process the imagery data. It's called Google Earth Engine. Google Earth Engine with Google Earth Engine, you can perform geospatial processing at scale powered by Google Platform. Okay, next, after preparing the dataset, I use XGBoost as a classification algorithm. XGBoost is a novel supervised algorithm that emphasizes the gradient boosting of several decision tree. Okay, and the objective of my work is the performing supervised learning of build-up area using XGBoost algorithm in one of Indonesian region is called Jabodetabek, Jakarta, and its surrounding. Okay, let's talk about the satellite imagery data first. In my work, I use three kind of imagery data. The first one is the Global Human Settlement Layer, or GHSL. It is imagery of settlement layer that consists of the value that consists of the pull-up class, and I use it as a reference. This imagery can can be accessed from this link. And you can Google this link. And the next one, I use Landsat 8 that contains several bands, and by calculating the several indices from the bands, this is the bands I use, the NDVI, MNDVI, SEVI, NDVI, and land surface emissivity. We can describe the surface condition. These indices will be used as the feature of classification. And the last imagery that I use is the VIRS day-night band. This imagery contains bands that measure average radiance of light from day or night time. This can be used as the reflection of human behavior. Okay, those imagery will be prepared and processed using the Google Earth Engine with Python API. Okay, next I want to explain the Google Earth Engine. What is Google Earth Engine or GEE? GEE is a cloud-based platform for planetary scale geospatial analysis that brings Google massive computational capability to bear on a variety of high-impact societal issues, including deforestation, drought, disaster, disease, etc. And then, what are common use of GEE? The first one is operate on petabyte of imagery on cloud, and then embed the output in the application. Next is import and export our own data, own raster data set. And then what is GEE not designed for? It is a GEE not designed not for the cartography and duty vector operation. Okay, let's talking about the how it works. Okay, this is how it works. First, we write some bunch of codes, and we send the request to the Google Earth Engine, and the Google Earth Engine will perform several process that we already request, and the result of the request will be sent to us by this kind. Okay. Maybe next is the data preparation workflow. This is the workflow that I use in my work for data preparation. The first one is the import the GHSL data. The next one is the mosaic the GSLL data. Next is preparing Landsat 8 and VIRS. Next is filter the period, and then get the median value from the collection. And the next is the calculate the indices from Landsat 8, and then combine GASL, Landsat, and VIRS, and then export the imagery for classification. If you're interested with this code, you can check this code on here. Oh, so sorry. This is okay. Sorry. You can check the code here. I will try to show you the code for this one. Okay, this is the code for the preparing data using Google Earth Engine. Okay, before you doing the code with the Google Earth Engine, first you must register yourself in the Google Earth Engine. Just googling the earthengine.google.com and click the sign up. Okay, by sign up you can have access to perform several processing in Google Earth Engine. So it is limited, but it is open for everyone. Just register it. Okay, let's talk about the first one is import EEE or Earth Engine in Python API, and then we authenticate. So it makes the one that sign it has only to access, and then we initialize the Earth Engine API. The next one is mosaic the reference imagery. Why I doing this? Because the global human settlement layer is not provided by the Google Earth Engine. So I download the imagery from this site, sorry, this site, and then import the imagery to Google Earth Engine. Maybe you can follow this step in this link for uploading the imagery. Okay, and then I mosaic those imagery into one TIFF. The next one is define the geometry boundary. It is the polygon of Jabodetabek boundary. It is the corner, left corner, top corner, bottom corner, and the right corner. And then process the public imagery for a classification. Here I get the how I get the Landsat 8 in 2014. Here is the code. I process this code and then I calculate the NDVI, NDBI, and other indices that I use for the classification. And after doing this, I combine the imagery from reference class and the classification feature. And this one is how I combine the imagery. And the next one is the export the imagery to the drive for the next classification. So after I run, after I read several code, and then I send request to Google Earth Engine to process this one and export the imagery to my drive. This imagery will be used in the next classification. Okay, I will begin next. My slide is about the how I classify the build-up area. I use the XGBoost classification algorithm. What is XGBoost classification algorithm? XGBoost is a supervised learning algorithm that implements gradient boosting on numerous decision tree. Here's some pros when we use XGBoost classification. The first one is the less feature engineering required, and the next one is not affected by outlier, and the third one is handles on large size data set, and the last is XGBoost has good performance compared with other classification algorithm. But these are several cons when we use XGBoost. The first one is need tuning on base parameter, and the next one is difficult to interpret from the visualization. When you're talking about XGBoost, the Python implementation can be used from the XGBoost package. Here, this link, you can look the detail from this link. And here, this about the classification workflow. The first one is read the prepared dataset using Rasterio. Rasterio is a package from Python to read the raster into a NumPy ND array. And then after we read the dataset, we pre-processing the dataset, and then itening the parameter using grid search. And the next one is run classification for base parameter. And the next one is calculate the accuracy measurement. Here I use three kind accuracy indicator. The first one is AOC ROC, and the next one is accuracy, and the last one is F1. And then after I get the base model, I try to visualize the result. Okay, here's the result. But I will show you the code. It will be easier, maybe. Okay, this is the code. It is about the classification of build-up area. The first one is how I import the package use. I import Pandas, Rasterio, and other. Okay, and I run this code in the Google Colab, so I can use my data that I prepare before in the Google Drive. So here is how import package use. And the next one is how I open data and pre-processing the data. Here is the how I pre-processing. This is how I scaling the data. I'm using Minmax scaler as the scaling algorithm. And the next one is the how I try to classification using XGBoost. This is the section about the parameter tuning with the grid search. This is a parameter that I define. There are several parameter and several range for the grid search uh, to define the best parameter. And then this is the define the classifier, and then I run the grid search. Okay, in this grid search, I use several scoring. This is the scoring I use. It is IOC, accuracy, and F1. And then I run this one. Okay, this is the grid search result. Maybe this is the graphic or less. Okay, this is the best parameter. The best parameter from the research is learning rate is 0.04. The learning rate parameter handle the how fast XGBoost uh, to perform. And the next one is max depth. Max depth is 4. It means that is only 4 feature. And then this is the n estimator is the number of decision tree the number of decision tree of XGBoost. It is 500. And then the objective of the XGBoost, it is binary logistic, because I just classify 1 for boot up and 0 for non-boot up. And this is the best score. It is about 0.96. And then I run the classifier with the best parameter. And then let's look the XGBoost tree. This is so small, but you can view this one. Okay. This is the tree, how the XGBoost perform. And then this is the nice step is about the feature importance. This step is show us what is the feature that have a more importance than others, and then from this graphic we can see that the NDVI Landsat and the RAD VIRS is have the importance than other. Okay, the next one is I use the cross validate to make sure the accuracy, and this is the AUC, accuracy, and F1 from my base model. Okay, the next one is after I run the classification and get the base model, I try to visualize the result. Okay, this is the how I visualize the result. This is one is the plot of the result. Okay, the left one is the reference class or GSSL, and the right one is the classification result. As you can see, it's not slightly different in the center, but in this area, similarly that more built up in the reference class. And then, what is the difference between the reference and the result? I try to visualize here the difference between the reference and the result. The white color indicate put up on reference, but the classify non put up, and the black is the opposite. Uh, so as you can see that several area is classified built up in reference, but the class in my model is classified as a non built up area. So this is my work. If you want to the code, you can look check the code from this link. Maybe I will share you in the Discord channel. And it is my last. Thanks. If there is any question, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ahmad. So I'm gonna run, let's say, some minutes of question answering. So is anybody, okay, someone is writing right now. Maybe it's a question. So maybe I can ask a question before Agatha finishes. How many gigabyte of data are we talking about?
Okay, for the it's not it's about just 2 GB. I think the 2 GB for all of the data, but you don't need to worry about the size because when we use Google Earth Engine, we make the Google platform doing our algorithm. So we just write the code and send requests to the Google Earth Engine, and it's done. But for the maybe in the SGBoost, it is some kind of worry. But in my case, it performed well. For the grid search, it's just only a half an hour to get the best parameter. But maybe when you try to expand the range, it will consume more time.
Okay. So next question from Agatha Ilya. May I ask you whether you dealt somehow with cloud coverages in your project? Cloud coverages?
Okay, you can use the in my project I use median composite from the several imagery in the period. I get the median value, but you can filter the metadata from the Google Earth Engine, so you can choose only the imagery with less than 30% of cloud coverage. I think this is.
Okay. Thank you, she says. So next question is, how much did it take to train your model with grid search? In sense, how much time? From Dimitris Politikos. Thank you.
Can you
Yeah.
repeat?
How much did it take? But probably you already replied to that question because you already said that it takes 30 minutes. How much time to train your model?
How much I try?
How long?
How long?
Yeah.
I just try this code for the 30 minutes for the grid search, but for a it's maybe you can try. Maybe I don't know the specific value. It's kind hour maybe.
Do you mean the entire ETL process, or because you kind of simplified the grid search, so it took 30 minutes?
Oh no, it's all the
So
process.
perfect.
The 2 hours is just for the classification process. For the Earth Engine process, maybe you will wait in some of minutes to give a time for the Google Earth Engine process your data and export the data into your Google Drive. but in my work it's just 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just 5 minutes for the Google Earth Engine. For prepare my what is my data set, my imagery data set, and then export it to my Google Drive account.
Okay. Next question is from Corina Navarrete Macedo. Do you try to use Bayesian optimization?
Oh, no. I do not try the use of Bayesian optimization. Maybe I will try to use the optimization. Thanks for Corina. Thanks for that advice. Thank you. Maybe I will.
Okay. Is anybody out there want to make another question? So, okay. So maybe before we close, since we still have a couple of minutes, may I ask you what type of classification are you doing? I mean, what exactly the yes or no binary decision that you are trying to classify says? I mean, what does it mean exactly? Probably
Yeah.
you said it in, yeah.
I try binary classification. The classification only costs the value 1 for build up and the 0 for non build up. So the classes just 2, 1 or 0.
Okay. Well, okay. Another question. How many classes do you find in your outputs? Probably 2. Okay. Yeah. Terence already replied himself. And so, yeah, is there anybody? Otherwise, okay, another one. Can we overlay image from UAV data like hyperspectral images?
Bayesian overlay, maybe yes, you can. The first one, you can import your dataset to the Google Earth Engine. Then the Google Earth Engine will use your dataset, and then you can combine your dataset with the other dataset provided by Google Earth Engine. And for visualize the dataset in the Google Colab, you can use Rastreio, and overlay it. I think that's my answer.
So Hikbal Dharma, who asked the question, that is it okay? I mean, the speaker reply to your question? He's not answering.
Yeah.
Okay, we're quite running out of time, so it's typing.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I will stop my share.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, and well, see you next time.
Thank you.